Welcome back to The Lead. I'm Jim Sciutto. Turning to our other top story today, the FBI recommending the Justice Department not file charges against Hillary Clinton for mishandling classified information, this during her tenure as Secretary of State. But FBI Director James Comey did not mince words, laying out a litany of ways that Clinton and her State Department staff should have known better, calling them, quote, extremely careless in the handling of classified information.
No charges are appropriate in this case.
With those 7 words, FBI Director James Comey spared Hillary Clinton the devastating prospect of an FBI indictment just 4 months from Election Day.
In looking back at our investigations into the mishandling or removal of classified information, we cannot find a case that would support bringing criminal charges on these facts.
However, in a surprise announcement of the conclusion of what he called a painstaking investigation, Director Comey issued damning criticism of the presumptive Democratic nominee's use of multiple private email servers.
Although we did not find clear evidence that Secretary Clinton or her colleagues intended to violate laws governing the handling of classified information, there is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information.
The FBI found that of the 30,000 emails Clinton turned over, 110 emails contained classified information at the time they were sent or received, including classifications ranging from top secret, the highest level, to secret and confidential, the lowest level of classification. The FBI's finding contradicts Secretary Clinton's evolving explanations of her email use, beginning with her claim that none of the information she read or emailed was sensitive when she read or sent them, implying they were only classified after the fact.
I am confident that I never sent nor received any information that was classified at the time it was sent and received.
In fact, the FBI found numerous emails containing information which was classified at the time they were sent.
Wow.
Director Comey also addressed the candidate's more recent claims that none of the emails were marked as classified.
I'm confident that this process will prove that I never sent nor received any email that was marked classified.
In fact, the process found that a small number of emails were marked classified at the time she and her staff sent them. Comey also questioned Secretary Clinton's argument that her private servers were never breached.
Well, the system we used was set up for President Clinton's office, and it had numerous safeguards. It was on property guarded by the Secret Service, and there were no security breaches.
In fact, Comey concluded that while the FBI found no direct evidence of such breaches,
we assess it is possible that hostile actors gained access to Secretary Clinton's personal email account.
Secretary Clinton's spokesman quickly welcomed the finding while repeating the candidate's apology. As the secretary has long said, it was a mistake to use her personal email, and she would not do it again. We are glad that this matter is now resolved. Donald Trump was, of course, less convinced, tweeting, quote, FBI director said crooked Hillary compromised our national security. No charges. Wow. Hashtag rigged system.
Joining me now is Republican Congressman Issa of California. He serves on the Judiciary and Oversight Committees. He also has endorsed Donald Trump. Congressman Issa, thanks very much for taking the time today.
Well, thank you. And Jim, thanks for covering both events. The president saying 4 more years of his administration with Hillary, and the, in this case, unindicted conspirator in this project to send and receive classified information outside any authorized system.
Well, let's get to the issue of the emails. I want to share what you tweeted in response to Director Comey's announcement. You said, quote, the FBI decision shows once and again how the Clintons and others at the top get to live by a different set of rules from everyone else. We heard a similar argument, in effect, from Donald Trump saying the system is rigged. But let's talk about this investigation. Director Comey personally oversaw it. He said it was comprehensive, impartial, rooted in fact. It took months. He, as you know, served both appointed by a Republican president. He laid out the case for why Clinton was not charged, though he did severely criticize her. Are you questioning the director's impartiality in deciding this case?
Well, first of all, let's remember that the top inspector in Casablanca said round up the usual suspects, and he would oversee that. Am I doubting that he said the whole truth? Yes, in this case I am. Because
I mean, this is James Comey, keep in mind, who confronted John Ashcroft on his hospital bed under the Bush administration to fight for his view of what he thought the law was. I mean, you're saying that he's not been a fair adjudicator of this case?
Well, and thank God John Ashcroft stood by his convictions in that case, as it was later discovered. Look, the FBI director told me he couldn't get into an Apple phone, and later we obviously got into it. You're not always right. In this case, he is saying that there was nothing to prosecute, and I'm telling you that there is. And I'll give you just an example. There's a Navy sailor right now being prosecuted for a picture that was left on a phone that was thrown away that had some limited classified value, pictures of nuclear vessels. But that person's being prosecuted. He will get 5 or 6 years and a dishonorable discharge. There is a double standard. And we're not talking about Hillary Clinton. We're talking about a double standard. If this were somebody of lesser power, there would be you will plead or we will prosecute. No question at all. You know, I'm from a Navy town. I'm a Navy and Marine town from San Diego and represent Camp Pendleton. I have tens of thousands of Marines and corpsmen and Navy personnel and tens of thousands more contractors and civilians, all of whom know that if they mishandled a few documents at the secret level, they would lose their jobs, they would be in big trouble, and they would likely be prosecuted. In this case, she lied publicly about knowingly transmitting and receiving classified information, including ones that were marked classified. So, do I have a problem with the FBI director? In this case, I do. And the first problem I have is the use of the word careless is inappropriate. It was reckless. Let's just call it what it was. It was reckless to plan and to execute having a private email. It was reckless to send and receive classified documents.
I hear you.
And it was reckless to leave the government in violation of the law with those documents. And she could have been prosecuted for it. You would have been prosecuted for it.
I hear your point, and others have made that point. I want to ask you this, though, because Donald Trump, he tweeted that the decision means the system is rigged, but both of his tweeted responses hit on that point. It's a theme, as you know, he's hit before. He said that he couldn't get a fair trial because the judge is of Mexican heritage, this in the fraud case against Trump University. Is he saying, in effect, that our legal system is politically corrupt beyond this case?
You know, Jim, there needs to be a single standard, and the standard has to be the same for that lowly sailor who took a picture and left it on a phone when he threw it away, and it has to be the same, or even more of an example. And I'll give you another example. General David Petraeus, the finest combat officer I've ever met, he was forced to deal with a conviction in spite of the fact
but the
that
difference there legally was, and it's a fair case to cite, was that he intentionally shared classified information. If you speak to lawyers, Democrats or Republicans, they say the key standard here is was there intent, and that appears to be what the FBI director said they couldn't establish.
Okay, well, let's go through it. He shared with somebody who was cleared at the level of the information he shared. He showed it to them. There was no chance of a third party seeing it. She sent and received classified information, including ones that were classified on their face through an unsecured network. How could you say that wasn't with malice and forethought, that it wasn't to design a system that enabled you to do it, to keep it a secret, and to do it? She did it, and look, the one thing you can't call Hillary Clinton is dumb. She is smart enough to know exactly what she did and then lie about it. So, compared to David Petraeus, there is a double standard.
Congressman Issa, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Jim.